This is Engage New York, Module 3, Lesson 16. This is the final lesson of Module 3. After today, you should be ready to go for the end of the module test. I read the objective while I read it out loud. I can explore parts to whole relationships. After we go through this fluency part, I have in the back of this notebook a review of basically all of Module 3. So our fluency practice starts with break apart the whole, 5 minutes. I'll give you a fraction greater than 1. You break it out of the whole by writing the addition fraction sentence. So really and truly, 3 halves is equal to either 2 over 2 plus 1 half or 1 plus 1 half. So this is what I want you to write here. Then make a like unit. Now, what does like unit mean? Tell me, write out, what does it mean when I say, does this fraction have a like unit? Do these fractions have like units? Write it out in words. Then what I want you to do is instead of scoreboarding, I want you to look at these two numbers and what do you automatically think of when it comes to a common denominator? Looking at those two numbers, what common denominator are you going to jump at right away? So I want you to do this quickly without thinking too much, and then we'll come back and review and debrief, and you can go back and adjust your thinking. Remember, it's the smallest product that they share. That's what you want to go with. Then we have add fractions with answers greater than 1. So what I want you to do is add the fractions. If the answer is greater than 1, put a check next to it. So once you pull this out, tell me what the mixed number looks like as well. Then what is different about answers that are greater than 1 and those that are less than 1? I want you to actually write out. I want you to think this through. Tell me what it means, because if you do it in the reflection part right here. So if you can actually tell me the difference between a fraction or answers that are greater than 1 and those that are less than 1, you know exactly what you're doing. When we're done, when you get here to concept development, I want you to come back and we're going to debrief and go over your answers to see how well you did. Today for concept development, we're going straight into the problem set, into the application. Then we're going to go over the lesson review. So everything on these 2 pages is just a review of everything that we've done in Module 3. So go ahead and begin. Start here. And then come back to check your thinking. Okay, so here we go. 1 plus 1/3, 1 plus 2/5, 1 plus 2/17, 4 and 1/3, 5 and 1/6, 6 and 4/7. What does like unit mean? When you add or subtract fractions, the denominators must be the same, which equals like units. Then what are we going to do for our denominators? So if you see 3 and 2, you think 6. 4 and 3, 12. 2, 4, just go 4. 6 and 8, 24. 2 and 6, 6. 3 and 9, 9. 3 and 12, 12. And 3 and 4, 12. Then let's switch over. Here's your equation. You write it and solve it. So 3 over 3 plus 1/3 is 4/3, which is 1 and 1/3. 2 over 2 plus 3 over 2 is 5 over 2, which is 2 and a half. Then 2/4 plus 1/4 is 3/4. So that is it. And then here it says, put a check next to the fractions that are greater than 1. What is the difference about answers that are greater than 1 and those that are less. A fraction greater than 1 will have a numerator greater than its denominator. All right, let's just jump over here, turn the page to our lesson review. Let's just go over everything that we've learned so far in Module 3. So, common denominators. Number 1, you cannot add or subtract a fraction if the denominators are not the same number. So 1/4 and 2/3, they are on different number lines. You cannot add those. So you have to rename each pair with a common denominator and put them on the same number line. And by doing that, first of all, you could scoreboard and know that 1/4 time. Remember going back to those rectangular fraction models, taking these and using the fraction models and dividing them up so that then they share the same amount of pieces. And that's what we're doing by creating that common denominator. So up here, they're on different number lines. Down here, we ended up putting them on the same number line. So 3/12 and 8/12. So you could add them and get 11/12. You could subtract 3/12 from 8/12 and get 5/12. So if you could come up with your own, try your own 3/8 and whatever else, what do you want to do? And you could practice that yourself using the information from above. An equivalent fraction, remember, by creating a common denominator, you are creating an equivalent fraction. So the easiest way to create an equivalent fraction is just to multiply by 2 or even divide by 2. So if you had here, you could either multiply 2 by 2 and go higher, or, well, your pieces would actually get smaller, or you could divide by 2 and take it down and make larger pieces. Also over here, so 3/5 is the same as 9/15. It would be in the same, they line up exactly on the number line. Now, how to create how this goes back and forth. 6/3 is equal to 2. 2 is equal to 6/3. 6 is equal to 18/3. 18/3 is equal to 6. Prime simplifying. All right, so whenever you are doing your math, doing fractions, they almost always want your answer, the product, or the addition or subtraction in prime simplification. So a prime number is a number that is that number and 1 by itself. So whenever you're simplifying, you take your two numbers and you break it apart into what the two factors that make up that number. And start in the top and then try to find, you're always looking for a number that they can share that you can cancel out, because this essentially is 1/1, which is 1. Anything times 1 is 1. Always simplify down to the prime numbers. So knowing that if I pull 2 and 2 out and 2 and 6 out, I end up with 6 and 2. But those aren't prime. I still can break that number down to 1 times 2 and 3 times 2 and get rid of the 2's, and I'm left with 1/3. So then if I have 12/15, I pull out 3 times 4, 3 times 5, cancel out those 3's, I'm left with 4/5. I cannot break this down any farther. If I broke it down to 2 times 2 and 1 times 5, there's nothing that can cancel out. So that is it. You are left with 4/5. Then, how to simplify mixed numbers. If you have 3 and 6/8, you're going to pull out 2 times 3 and 2 times 4. And yes, you even want to simplify your mixed numbers, 3 and 3/4. If you're left with 2 and 12/15, you're going to break that down to 2 and 4/5. So that's going to do it. After this, you are going to be ready to take on the end of the module test. Based on lesson 15 and the review that we just did in our fluency, you should be able to successfully complete the test very well. All right, so come on back and join me for the concept development / problem set for the very last lesson, for lesson 16.